How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the final round of the first season for the PC tier for the Invictus Racing League. My name is Jakob, bringing you the comms as always. And as I said, we are here for the final round for tonight for the PC League. It's been a very successful first season, as you guys can see on your screen. The amount of people that have signed up and have taken part in the PC League. Of course, a few people having to pull out early, which is a bit unfortunate, or deciding to pull out early again. It's a bit unfortunate, but we are still going to be having a great race to the end of the season for you guys. And as I said, I'm very much looking forward to this one. One of my personal favourite tracks. I know it's only just came out on the calendar and is unfortunately getting shoved straight off for next season. But it is for the Vietnamese Grand Prix around the Hanoi circuit. As you can see on your screens, Scope Fielder, he already took the championship. He took this back in Azerbaijan. All he had to do was finish 4th place. He finished 2nd, so he is the winner of the title. And there's a little bit something interesting coming up, but I will reveal that to you guys a little bit later on in the stream. Skyzy, his teammate, is in 2nd, solidified 2nd, cannot be overtaken whatsoever. And Matty in 3rd, he cannot be overtaken either. So top 3 are all secured in their positions. In 4th is Podium Cheetah. In fact, he is also safe in P4. So the top 4, despite Podium Cheetah not racing those last 4, or not being able to finish / race the last 4 races, he is solidified for that P4 spot. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The spot for P5. Now, Malc, he's only raced 4 races, and he's in 5th place at the moment. 1 point up ahead of the admin, the Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, as I like to call him, of Jos. Literally 1 point splits them, and same with Dre Geo and Farnham. 33 points apiece for those guys in 7th and 8th. Rashid is in 9th, of course, not being able to finish the season, but he is on 27 points. Typhoon is only a point behind him. He can try and get himself that 9th place, depending on if Gaudio, who's tied with him on points, is able to overtake him or not. Gaudio being on quite a few runs as well and having some decent results as of late, so I'll be interested to see how the Italian's going to finish out the season for tonight. In 13th is in 12th is Mags. He is he's on 23 points, only just missed out on his first podium last week. However, Lacquerate in the other Williams did manage to pick up his first podium of the season, so he is sitting in 13th in the standings as of now. MJ Coop picking himself up another set of points. He is sitting in 14th in the standings on 17 points. He managed to pick himself up some after having a bit of a dry spout of 6 races, unfortunately not scoring any points. So be interested to see how he finishes off his season tonight as well. Fashion is in 15th on 14 points. Ruben is in 16th with 13 points. Jamie Ryan and Biofreak are 17th and 18th with 10 points in their name, but unfortunately not in the league anymore. Kenner's not had the 2 best races last time out, but he is hoping to try and finish it a bit strong in the Ferrari. He is 19th on 8 points. In 10th is in 20th is SK Fast with 5 points. Plower managing to pick himself up the first set of points over at Baku, so he is on 3 points in the 21st. 22nd is Crayon in the Mercedes. He managed to pick himself up 2 points last week. Decent result for him. Primal Pro Sniper making his debut at Russia last week. Unfortunately not here tonight. He is on the 1 point. He managed to get himself P10. And then of course Hardcore and Bolland not able to finish out their season. They are sitting at the back of the grid. And just before we go into quali as well, I'll just show you the constructors so you guys have an idea of what's going on in there as well. The Renaults, of course, you can see that they have taken the constructor. The Haas are solidified for 2nd place. However, that 3rd place spot in the constructors, if the Williams are going about how they have been over these past couple of races, I can really see them taking the 3rd place spot. But Alfa Romeo, they are the ones on 61 points at the moment. The Ferraris on 58, the Williams on 55, Mercedes on 54, the Red Bulls on 51, AlphaTauri on 44, the McLarens are on 40, and unfortunately the Racing Points, I'm pretty sure that and they're expecting as well that they are solidified for the bottom. So that unfortunately 10th place is not going to be the high. They're not going to get any higher than that. But that battle for P3 is between 3rd and 9th. It depends on who gets the best results for tonight. And as I said, that's what it all comes down to. It depends on who is going to be able to take that for them tonight. Maybe the Renaults may just want to have a little bit of a chill out race. Although I do say that there is a bit of a fact that's about to come up on your way. So as you can see on your screen, Mr. CRG Gamer, he took the win out on Monday, which gave him the all-time record in a season. 148 points. He only just beat his last record, that he had in last season, by 1 point, and that was for him getting that fastest lap point at Vietnam on Monday. Now Scope has the opportunity to break that. All he's got to do is finish in 6th place. If my maths isn't bad, I'm just trying to think. 10th is 1 point, 9th is 2, 8th is 3, 7th is 4th. So yeah, 6th place, and he breaks that record. Or 7th with the fastest lap. If he does that, he will then have the highest points scored over one season. As you can see, Harry B, the one that finished in 2nd in the championship, is within that as well. 130 points. Those guys having a pretty dominant string together. And Skyzy also has the opportunity to make himself into here as well. So if he ends up finishing at least in 3rd place, he does jump up into this little group for the highest season points scored, and Harry B won't be the only one that's finished 2nd in the championship that's within this table. So the two Renaults, I said that they may probably try and play it a little bit safe tonight. I think it's going to be quite the opposite. They're going to want to try and get their names either at the top or towards the top, at least within this top 8 for the highest season points scored. So I guess there's only one thing left to do. We're just waiting for the lobby to ready up. I think we're just waiting for one more person just to hop on in. But of course, with it being, as a lot of guys like to call it, Remembrance Day, we are going to be having that 1 minute silence at the beginning of this qualifying. So there won't be any talking from myself. There won't be any drivers going out for the first minute. So we'll only have 17 minutes of qualifying. We are just waiting to get into the session. So yeah, I'll keep it on this screen just for now whilst we are waiting for the final person to make their way into the lobby. I think it is actually just Mags that we are waiting for. Hopefully we'll see him in at any second. He's just saying that his game is actually messing up, so yeah, it's just taking a little bit of time for Mags just to try and make his way into the lobby. However, to the guys that are actually in the chat already, may as well ask, do you think that Scope's going to be able to take the record? Do you think Skies is going to be able to get in this top 8? As I said, all he's got to do is finish 3rd place. And I suppose the only other question is, are you looking forward to the next PC season? Because sign-ups, in case you guys don't know, they did tweet it out on the Invictus Twitter, as you can see the handle down the bottom of your screen, at InvictusRL, that sign-ups will go open on the 30th of November. So make sure you guys are looking out for that one and making sure that you guys get signed up for Invictus. Otherwise, you are missing out, because as I said, this season has been a great season, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how Season 2 is going to go down. But we are now it's looking like we are now loading into qualifying. So, as I said, I'm going to go quiet because we are going to be having that 1 minute silence to go about, as I said, because of it being Remembrance Day for today, lest we forget about all of the soldiers that, for everything that happened in World War I from 1914 to 1918. Yeah, as I said, I'm going to go quiet and I'm just going to, well, remember those who have fallen, like I said, lest we forget. And there we are. So now let's get this qualifying underway, as we are going to be having quite a few guys make their way out. As you can see, it's looking very, very grey and cloudy. So I'm a bit intrigued to see if any of the admins have told me that it might actually be raining for this race. As you can see, 3 guys already making their way out, and in fact, I think the majority of the field are going to start making their way out ASAP, because it does look like it is going to rain. So let's keep our eye out on this, see if I've gotten anything to say if it's going to be raining or not. Haven't gotten anything as of yet. So it doesn't look as if it is going to be raining at all. So yeah, very, very good. So it seems like it's going to be a dry race, so we'll keep our eye out on that one. But we're all going to go on board with the man who I feel like if he is here at the beginning of the season next time, he could be one to try and break down both the Frenchman and the Swedish in those Renault cars. Because Malc, since he's joined, he's either kept up with the 2 Renaults, or he's even bested them. At Russia, I actually found out what had happened to him. So he had this, again, it's all down to Codemasters. He had this glitch where, for some strange reason, he was going into the pits under the safety car. For some reason, the game registered it as he overtook the safety car when he was going into the pits, and then it disqualified him because it showed that he went into the pits from overtaking that safety car. So that was very unfortunate for Malc as to what had happened, but yeah, as I said, very unfortunate what's happened. But I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna shut up, I'm gonna let you ride on board with Malc for the final race of this season. So there you have it, that is a lap of the Hanoi track. As you can see, Malc putting it on pole so far. A 33.5 is a very impressive time. Scoped just behind him puts in a 33.9. SK Flash just behind him with 34.1. Got a Alfa Romeo coming across the line, that is Typhoon, to do a 35.3. I haven't actually got the tyres up at the moment, but everyone looking like they're going on a set of the softs. As I said, I still haven't been told whether it's going to be dry or wet, as Kenners and Jos coming across the line to do their laps and come, well, Jos goes into 4th, Kenners down into 6th, but drops down to 7th because Lacquerate coming across the line. Coming across the line to do a 35.0. I see a McLaren coming across the line of Fashion to start on his lap. Crayon, the other Mercedes, unfortunately, I don't think Podium Cheetah is again here tonight, unfortunately, but Crayon to come up towards the line, a little tap on the wall, but a 37.3, it puts him into P7. The other Red Bull of MJ Coupe is just making his way around the final sector now. I don't think he's actually on a lap, he might be just coming straight back in. Well, he definitely isn't now because he has unfortunately just invalidated, but Yeah, so we might expect to see him going on another lap, or he might just end up coming in, and we'll see what he does from there. It would have been a 39.9 anyway, so I know that he'll probably want to try and improve on that lap. However, Fashion, he is currently on a lap. I think the only one that's actually on a lap at the moment, unless MJ Coupe is deciding to go again. But yeah, DRS is now wide open for the McLaren man as he just makes his way down towards probably the heaviest braking zone on the track. Might even be in the game, because that and China's hairpin are both very similar. So I won't be surprised if that. Well, I suppose the hairpin in Monaco probably makes a bit more sense of that being the heaviest braking zone. But yeah, Fashion now making his way around possibly my favourite part of this track, the tight S's through sector 3, and if you nail this, then it's so fun to go through. But as Fashion makes his way up towards now the penultimate corner, going around that quite nicely, not taking as much curve now, up towards the line, takes that very deep, which is very good to see, because that can gain you time and puts him in P6, 35.0 for the McLaren man to go ahead and put himself into P6. So decent lap from Fashion. Of course, a lot of guys just currently into the pits, just waiting a little bit further. If you guys are wanting to know what the strategies are around here, it'll probably be said at the beginning of the race anyway, but I'll tell you now. So the soft tyre is usually the one that you want to start on. You can do a soft to hard, a soft to medium to soft, a soft to medium. Any of those are probably the more feasible strategy to go on. Of course, to stopping it can gain you time at the end of the race. However, it's just a part where it's a bit costly for track position and overtaking around here. There's only really sort of two parts that you can do it, and that's really sort of down 2 out of the 3 DRS zones. Not even in towards turn 1 I'd say you can overtake. It's just a bit too tight of a corner to even have 2 cars go through, especially at the certain angle that you need to try and go through. It's not really exactly an overtaking zone, so we might see a mix of strategies for tonight, whether it being a 1-stop, whether it being a 2-stop. I'm very intrigued to see what everyone is going to go on, especially the Renaults and the Williams. I think from when I raced Scope on the Monday, he went and done a soft, medium to soft, so I'll be intrigued to see if the Swede does the same strategy again for tonight. It did work for him. I think he ended up finishing in P4, P5 in that race, so it was a good result for him nonetheless. So we'll see how him and his teammate Skyzy get on, as Skyzy very close to that white line on the entrance to turn 2, turn 3. Not too sure if this is actually just a 1 turn or if that's sort of counted as a double turn. I think that is just a 1 turn anyway, so not too bad anyway. But a 25.7 in the first sector. It is purple currently. Malc is the one that is sitting on pole, 4/10 up ahead of our current champion of Scope. As I said, Scope, all he needs is just 4 points for tonight. Sorry, 5 points tonight, and he will break the record for the most amount of points scored in an Invictus season so far. So we'll keep our eye out on him. And same with Skyzy. As I said, all he needs is 10 points, and he will then also be in that top 8 of all time most amount of points scored in one season. So the Frenchman could be putting his name up there as well. So we'll keep an eye on and see how he does for tonight. As in Sector 2, it was also a purple Sector 2, now making his way around the tight and twisty section of Sector 3. And let's see if he is nailing this perfectly as we ride on board with the Frenchman in the Renault, of course his home car. Little bit shaky on the exit of coming up towards the penultimate corner, but got it very nicely stable, turned in very nicely and up towards the line. It is best of his teammate, however Malc is the one that is still on pole position so far, as Typhoon comes across the line to start a lap. Crayon also coming across the line to start a lap. So I believe MJ Coupe isn't going to be the next one. It's actually going to be, no, Yoss is going to be the next one, but he's just about to start our lap, so we won't ride on board with the Dutchman as of yet. We'll ride on board with him a little bit later on in the lap, as in fact he goes into the pits. So Scope, our champion, will ride on board with him as he's just making his way down probably one of the longer straights on the calendar. very, very long straight. Unfortunately, we won't get to see this track in real life because I would love to see what it would be like and how it would play out, especially with the real-time cars. But I suppose the best we're going to get is just for this, so we'll keep on board with him as he is actually a tenth and a half up on his time. However, that massive lockup going in towards the beginning of Sector 3 does not particularly help him. However, it might not have hindered him too much as he's just now making his way around the S's, now coming up towards the third to last corner. Didn't take as much run off on that one, but he got that turn in very nicely for the penultimate corner. A little bit of a slide on the exit, but I don't think it's going to hurt him too much as he makes his way up towards the line. Is it pole position? No, it isn't. It's not even faster than his teammate, so only just slower than Skyzy. As a few guys are making their way across the line now. Lacrate jumps it up into P5. SK Fast, I didn't realise that she jumped up into P4, so good lap from him. Typhoon isn't on a lap or improving on a lap. Fashion makes his way in towards the pit as well. In fact, everyone looks like they've made their way into the pits other than Crayon, so Crayon is going to be the next one to finish a lap around here. Very, very slidey on the exit, but I think he is up on his time as Crayon up towards the line of 37.3 he needs to beat. He does beat it a 36.2 by 1.1 seconds, so he knows that there is a lot of time for him to try and make up. We'll keep on board with him come towards the end of the qualifying and see how he does opt to do. Now we're going to go on board with the Ferrari of Kenner's as he's just started a lap. He's gone very wide from turn 1, so it's going to cost him quite a bit of time because he would have had to slow down to make sure he didn't invalidate that time, but took it very nicely through turn 2. Man, it definitely made up for it, and now leading up towards one of the more stressful chicanes. It's one that you can cut relatively easy, but Kenner's didn't. He did at the final part, but unfortunately it was just one of those that just made it invalid for him, so we're not going to be seeing any improvements from Kenner's whatsoever, which is very unfortunate for him. Scope, I think, is just on an in-lap. Yeah, he's 17 seconds down in his time, so if that's not an in-lap, then I don't know what is. There is Max just joining the session. I think he's managed to get his game working in the end, which is good. At least he can probably get one run at least done. So we'll keep on board with, might even ride on board with Max at one point and see if he does manage to get himself into that top 5 in the qualifying. As of late, Max has actually been having a pretty good run, so we'll keep, we'll see how he does opt to go for in the final race of the season. Gaudio, I didn't realise actually, has retired from the session. I'm not too sure whenabouts that was, to be honest with you. It's a very, very weird one, but Jos, the only one that's out on track, well, MJ Cooper is out on track, but he's on and out on lap, so right on board with the Dutchman as he's making his way now around turn 2. You want to be able to try and get that as wide as possible so you get the best entry, and Jos looks like he's done that. Maybe want to take a little bit more curb into that, but nonetheless, it doesn't look like it's going to hurt his lap time as he makes his way up towards the end of Sector 1. What is his Sector 1 time going to be? 25.8, it's only 4 thousandths down on his time. Does have a massive lockup going into the chicane, however, but does manage to cut that second part of the chicane very nicely, so it has not invalidated his lap. Now, a very good run coming out of the long loop of the left-hander and up towards the DRS zone. Riding at around 205 miles an hour, maybe even a little bit faster than that, almost 210. And now braking just after 100 meter board. Massive lockup from the Dutchman, but again, not one that I think is going to hurt his lap. Short shifts it straight up into 5th gear as he touches the wall a little bit. I don't think he's got any wing damage. However, 2 tenths up on his time now, so this could be a decent time for Jos. He wants to try and get that position back from Lacquerate. It all depends on how he does in this final section as he keeps it in 6th gear, going through one of the first right-handers, which has caused him to run out a little bit too wide, but did manage to take a nice amount of curb going onto the penultimate corner as well. Very nicely tucked in onto the final corner now. A little bit slow through there, but it's not an improvement actually. He didn't end up improving on his time, so he lost 3 tenths going through that S section. So I'm not too sure whereabouts he had lost that, but it didn't help him whatsoever. But his teammate, I was going to say was on a lap, but he's got a half a front right wing and is not going to be carrying on with the lap. So we'll ride on board with the Frenchman Skyzy and see if he is able to beat Merc, as I've just realised Merc's time is on a 33.1. Impressive time, a very impressive time. So he goes up ahead of Skyzy and Scope, as Skyzy now going through the chicane. Very nicely done indeed. Keeping it in second gear, short shifting straight up to 4 so he gets the best amount of traction coming out of that as much as possible. It's very easy to slide it there, and I can probably put some money on it that we may see 1 or 2 people slide through that corner in the race, because it is very easy to lose it through there. Right, coming up towards the hairpin now, Skyzy. Is he going to get this stopped in time? He does look like he has, and he's short shifted straight up into a third, a little bit of a slide, but I think that's more traction that's actually helped him rather than hindered him, and he's now almost 4 tenths up on his time. So Skyzy, this could be a very, very impressive time. However, that Red Bull in front of him really needs to get out of the way, otherwise it could hinder Skyzy as he's now making his way through the S's. Yoss is the one that's in the way, but I think he's going straight into the pits if I'm not mistaken. No, he's he's definitely having to go into the pits. But Skyzy now around the penultimate corner, taken very nicely as well. Tiny little touch on the wall on the outside, but I think it's going to help him. Skyzy up to the line at 33.3, 4 tenths up ahead of his teammate, and I think that is going to be Skyzy's final run. So not a pole position for the Frenchman. He could maybe try and keep it on that top row, however, on that front row. However, his teammate has just come out of the pits, and in fact I say he's just come out of the pits. He's coming up to the beginning of sector 3 right now, as a few guys are making their way onto their laps as we speak. Fashion, SK Fast, Lacarate and Farnham all starting their laps now, as Crayon also just behind Skyzy, who's just starting his lap. 10.5 down on his time, 25.9 in the first sector, but I know Crayon is going to want to try and improve that one. However, a 36.2, again, I know it's one that he is definitely going to be able to improve upon. So we're keeping with the Mercedes driver. He's now making his way up towards the DRS zone, coming up to activate that DRS, which should open about now. Once again, about 210 miles per hour, coming down to the straight, braking just after the 100 meter board. Let's see if he does exactly that. It does look like he does. Taking a bit too much curb in that hairpin. That's going to slow his time down a bit more. However, it still looks like it's a decent run for Crayon, as in fact he's almost half a second down on his time, so he's got it all to play for going through this S section. We're right on board with him actually, see how he does. Keeping it in 7th gear, down into 6th through the first right hander, down into 5th once again, down into 4th for this for that right hander. That's probably the better choice for that one, so you get the quickest run coming out of there as well. And now around the final corner, very nicely done actually around the final corner. Crayon 35.9 goes up ahead of Farnham. Farnham, however, just making his way up towards the line. He's 6 tenths down on his time, touch on the wall. Don't think it's an improvement. No, it's not a 36.7. SK Fast does improve and is the 4th one to get himself into the 33s. Lacarate has gotten quite significant wing damage on that front right, so no improvements for him, as Merc improves it even more, goes 0.04 of a second faster, and he's 33.1 for the Williams driver. The only one that's going to be able to beat it is going to be Scopefield, as Kenner's up to the line, a 35.3 for him, as Scope actually goes into the pits because he invalidated his lap. And Lacarate, I'm not seeing he's going to be able to improve. Typhoon, I mean, he's the only other one. Up towards the line goes Typhoon, a 35.2, so it's an improvement, only slightly, but he's at least ahead of that Ferrari. And at the moment, the Williams will be the one that take 3rd in the Constructors. So Merc, final race of the season, chucking himself on pole position. And then he's got the 2 Renaults just chilling up behind him. So we'll see if he does remain in that first position at the end of turn 1, or even at the end of the first lap, because I know these 2 guys of Skyzy and Scope, they're going to want to try and get their names up in that top. Well, Scope wants to try and get that in that top spot for the all-time points scored in a season, and Skyzy, he's going to want to get his name in that top 8 as well. So hopefully for him and for Scope, they both managed to get their names up there. But as I said, Merc taking the final pole position of the season around the Hanoi circuit, a 33.1, 2 tenths faster than Skyzy in P2, our champion of Scope in P3, 6 tenths behind Skyzy. SK Fast in 4th, of Lacarate in 5th, Fashion in 6th, Yoss in 7th, Typhoon in 8th, Ken is in 9th, of Crayon in 10th. Farnham, he gets a free choice of tyre, same with MJ Coupe, Stefano or Mags, and Gaudio, both unfortunately not being able to get any times in. Gaudio did retire from the session. I don't know how he did it. I don't think he has a quali ban to my knowledge, but yeah, just very unfortunate for him. And yeah, he will be starting at the back of the grid. But as I said, he gets his free choice of tyre, and I won't be surprised if I see a few guys opt to go on the mediums, because I know I said the strategy is soft to hard. However, I know that the medium to hard can be a little bit quicker than doing the soft to hard, because of how fast the softs do tend to go. It's a bit tricky. So we are just waiting for the admins just to give the go ahead, but we're going to need some predictions in this chat. Who do you think are going to be the ones to take it for tonight? Is Malc going to take the final win of the season and show exactly why he could be a very good title contender for next season if he does choose to sign up? Will Skyzy be able to take the win? Will Scope take the win? Or could we have a new winner for tonight? You never know. And after, I think it's 28 laps, we'll find out. But make sure you guys, if you haven't already, as I said, you have got the sign-ups opening on the 30th of November for the new Invictus Racing League season. Season 12, I believe that will be. So making sure you guys do check that one out. I think if you are a premium member, you can sign up, if I'm not mistaken, literally next week. It's either next week Wednesday or next week Thursday. I'll have to have a double check and get back to you at the end of the stream for that one. But I believe it is on the 19th that premium members will be able to sign up for Invictus. So again, just making sure that you guys are able to keep a watch on that one, as we are now getting straight into the session. So as I said, you can see it on your guys' screen as well. The two stop strategies, soft, medium, soft, or soft, medium, medium. Either way, that is probably going to be the optimal strategy. Or if they did want to just go for a one stop of soft or hard, it's going to be slower at the end. However, the track position is going to be key, depending on how fast that they are going to be on a set of the hard tyres. You never know. But let's have a look. The guys that are outside of the top 10, what tyre have they opted to go on? Farnham is the only one to try and do it very riskily and go on a set of the hard tyres. MJ Coupe and Gaudio on a set of the mediums, and Mags opting to go on a set of the soft tyres. So Mags is going to have probably the better start out of that bottom four. However, he needs to try and move up those positions to be able to make the strategy work. So we'll see how he does make his way through the grid. But as I said, get your top 3 predictions in the chat. I actually think that Malc is going to be the one that will take the win for tonight. I think Scope will take second. I think Skyzer will take third. It's a safer option to go for. But it's the final race of the season. Anything can happen. but I think that's how it is going to go down. So, final race of the season. We have now got the 5 red lights going on. Very quickly they go off, lights out, and away we go. And it looks like was that a McLaren that's just made his way all the way up into P4 already? I can't tell if Fashion's actually there on their screen, but if he is, he's already up into P4 from an absolutely amazing start. Skyzy also getting a very, very good start. Moves his way up into the lead of the race, down into second, Scope into third. In fourth is actually Lacquerate. Fashion is into fifth, so yeah, Fashion with an absolute sublime start. From, I think he was down in P8. He's already moved his way up at the fifth/fourth as he's going side by side with Black right now in towards the end of the first sector, beginning of the second sector. Keeps it down the inside, and Fashion, well, I'm surprised we didn't see more starts going that way, as we have got a bit of a spin out. I think that is Farnham and MJ Coombe. A little bit of contact between the pair of them, unfortunately, but Fashion is into fourth place in the race. And now Lacquerate, who's in fifth, is under a bit of pressure from the Flying Dutchman of Jos right up the back of him, putting it into overtake. I'm sure Lacquerate's also doing the same thing, both very close to running out of VRS already, as it seems. As Lacquerate, oh, straight into the back of Fashion. Jos is just going to take both of those places. Oh, a little bit of lag there. Oh, okay, there's a bit of contact that's gone on there. Fashion, not the best place he wanted to try. I know he couldn't really sort of come back on track any sort of safer, but that wasn't the best way for him to do that. He's now gotten himself some front right wing damage. Kenneth has gone round into SK first. They're both just passengers in that, and there's nothing that they could particularly do, so very unfortunate for them. But Fashion and Lacquerate, of course, they're going to need to make their way into the pits. Mags, by the way, I said he needed to have an absolute good start. I think he's had a better start than what Fashion has, because he is already up into 6th place. As Lacquerate straight into the pits he goes. Obviously, Fashion with that wing damage, Mags is probably going to have the opportunity to try and have a go at him, as well as Lacquerate, Kenners and SK Fast all into the pit lane, of course, with those guys unfortunately picking themselves up some damage at the very beginning of the race. But we are carrying it straight on, as Mags going as wide as he possibly can to get a better exit out of here, and now going down towards the first DRS straight. It says Lap 3 on the top left of your screen. It's lying to you. And it also says that Lacquerate and SK Faster at the top as 1 and 2. Again, still a bit of a graphics glitch. Not too sure why this graphics glitch is still existing in this game. But I suppose it is what it is. As you can see, I can't speak today. The predicted pit stop strategy, for some reason the game really is trying to recommend a 2-stop. However, I know a 1-stop is definitely doable. It's, as I said, it's not unfortunately the fastest strat. However, it can be the most convenient strat, especially if a safety car does come out. Just go straight on a set of hards. You're there till the end of the race, unless of course it comes out on a lap, I don't know, we'll call it lap 17 or 16. Then it's probably better to go on a set of the mediums, or maybe, just maybe, even a set of the softs, depending on how long that safety car is going to be staying out. But as I said, top 3, Skyzy now 1.1 seconds up ahead of Malc and Scope. Well, those 3 have already just absolutely ran away from everybody else behind them. Jos is the one that is currently leading that little charge, who's now actually started to get away from everybody else, as Fashion, with that wing damage, is the one that is sitting in 5th place. Fashion, again, another passenger in that. It was really sort of a Constantina effect that happened from Lacquerate, unfortunately just missing that braking point. With it being on lap 1, it's completely understandable that has happened, as Mags now going around the outside of Fashion. Fashion not going to try and fight that one too hard. Mags now up into P5. There's still that hope that he could get that first podium. When I was saying that, massive mistake, massive lock-up going in towards turn 1. Now side by side with Fashion once again. Mags just keeping it down the inside, and Fashion just has to yield that place. But now Mags, he won't have any DRS, however Fashion will. I don't think he's going to try and go for any sort of attempts to lead up towards this little chicane here. In fact, he does brake relatively early to avoid anything. So smart move from Fashion indeed, especially with that wing damage. he might want to try. He might even try and do it so he'll take the softs to when he was actually due to pit. Change his wing from there as SK Fast has come into the pits and unfortunately retired from the session. So our first person to unfortunately DNF in his first race of the season, as final race of the season, sorry, is Fashion straight down the inside, or going around the outside to have the inside line on Mags and back up into P5. Mags, this is not the place that he would have really wanted to lose that position, because now he's going to be stuck behind Fashion, going through probably one of the faster parts of the track where it involves multiple left turns. So Mags, unfortunately, just having to lose that place out to Fashion, and he does look like he isn't actually able to close up as much as I thought he would do. What I was saying, that Fashion going very, very wide at the penultimate corner, as Typhoon comes straight into the pits, and a little bit of an interesting one. Malc started to catch back up to Skyzy once again. He's only 4 tenths behind him as Typhoon actually out of the race. We've got another virtual safety car. Someone's actually gone round. That's Gaudio at the S section. So just when I thought Malc may try and have an opportunity to overtake Skyzy, well, I think Skyzy can thank his Italian friend for that one, as Gaudio, unfortunately, DNFing from the final race of the season, so he won't be picking up that 10th position, maybe even 9th position from, I think it was actually Typhoon he was battling. Typhoon did retire as well, so, well, already 3 drivers out and it's only lap 4. So we're going to have another driver out on this lap as well then, I take it. Hopefully not, but I suppose you never know. But DRS back enabled now as Skyzy, he's being closed in on by Malc. Again, not close enough to getting any sort of move done is the Brit in the Williams. So he's just to stay behind him for now, just keeping content as Scoped still out of DRS from anyone, not close enough whatsoever. Even Mags still has not been able to get past Fashion. Fashion just in a straight line just seems so quick. I know he's got that wing damage, but it just doesn't seem as if it's helping him whatsoever. Well, it's helping him more out on the straights where he really needs it, especially for the DRS. Because Sector 3, you can't really overtake in Sector 3. You watch, I'll say this now, I'm going to commentate his curses. Someone's going to do an absolute sublime move at the end of this lap. At the end of Sector 3. But DRS now wide open for Malc. Again, in towards turn 1, not really a move that you want to try and go for. You're best off keeping it up for these next 2 DRS zones, because there are definitely ones that you can overtake in, especially the one going down, the 3rd DRS zone. Literally 3 DRS zones in 2 sectors. See, this one you could do, but then it just compromises you for once you come out of that left-hander. Or should I say, not that left-hander, out of this left-hander. It can compromise you out of that one. Although saying that, Mags and Fashion both going side by side. Mags trying to hold it around the outside to have the inside for the chicane. He might have pulled off an absolute stunner here as Mags down the inside, getting the move done on Fashion. However, Fashion trying to have a bit more of a better run coming out of that. But now back up to the lead of the race as Malc and Skyzy now both side by side. Malc trying to hold it down the inside as Skyzy. Oh, I don't think he was expecting Malc to just run straight back in front of him. But now both still side by side. A little bit of a bump on Malc, but I don't think Malc's going to have it. I say that though, Skyzy, an absolute better run compared to Malc, and he's gotten back past him. So very impressive indeed from Skyzy. I know there's a little bit of a bump pass, but I don't think Malc was even expecting. I wasn't even expecting that, to be honest. I think Skyzy wasn't expecting Malc to move straight back onto the racing line. And so when he broke at a normal point, when Malc moved straight back onto the racing line, he just obviously went into the back of him. Kept it down the inside, and well, you can see how that's turned out. He's obviously got the move done. So good work indeed from Skyzy as Fashion into the pits now to put on, well, I'm assuming a new wing. We're only, of course, only on lap 6. And this battle for the lead of the race is already heating up between these two. But at the moment, both Skyzy and Scope, they're doing enough to get themselves on, well, Scope doing enough to get himself on top of the most amount of points scored in one season. And Skyzy doing enough to get himself in that top 8 as well. As I said, all Skyzy needed really was just 10 points. And so far, he's doing just that. But here we go. We're going to be seeing another move as well, and also another one going in the background, which I'll go on board with in a minute. But for the leader of the race, Malc now trying to go down the inside. He will have the outside line and the racing line in the lead up to the hairpin. Skyzy, well, if he bumps him now, then it's going to be very bad news for him, because he might end up getting that wing damage if he did do that. But no, Skyzy has to contend the place, and that's that for first position. Malc now moves up into the lead of the race, back where he did qualify. But there was another move that I was kind of intrigued on. Crayon could be on for scoring his best point season so far. He's only scored at 2 places. One was Russia, last race out, and the other one was Australia. So 2 completely different ends of the spectrum in terms of the season. And Crayon could be looking to finish his season on a high with his highest points finish of the season, if he does manage to finish in that P6 position. Of course, MJ Coop in 7th place on a set of the mediums at the moment. He's actually having a pretty good race. As I said, outside of the top 10, these guys can up to do a one stop from medium to hard, as Stefano into the pits now. So Mags just not going to try and give it any sort of DRS or slipstream to Crayon. So Crayon maybe try and overcut him. It depends. We'll see how this goes down. However, I think from that, Mags is then going to go and try and do a 2-stop strategy. He's also got to be careful where Lacarate comes out. I know Lacarate had damage, but it was also where Mags was. He was close to where sort of Mags was before. As there is Lacarate coming across the line. I don't think Mags has jumped him. Is Mags stuck in the pits? No, he certainly isn't. So it's a very weird one, but Mags has had to go all the way to the back of the grid, so very unfortunate for him. Skyzy, DRS now wide open for him. Again, he's not close enough to compare to what Malc was to him last lap, so Malc doing as much as he can, and also doing enough for him to be able to keep that first position, even with Skyzy having that DRS. Of course, that DRS is going to help Skyzy to catch back up, but I think it's... I think Malc just gets a much better run in comparison to the Frenchman. I mean, look at that. Just going through here alone, he's just gained 2 temps on him. And Malc almost has him out of DRS. In fact, Skyzy into the pits. He knew he was losing too much time. So, Frenchman into the pits. The first one out of the front 3 to make that pit stop. And he's going to try and go for a bit of an undercut. So, I'm assuming that Skyzy is going to be trying to 2-stop this. Probably doing a soft, medium. Let's have a look and see what tyre he does opt to go on. It is on a set of the softs, so we'll keep our eye out and see how Skyzy does this. I was just going to go on board with Kenners, but he had a massive bit of oversteer coming out of the hairpin. I thought he was going to maybe try and have a go at Mags, but, well, as you saw from that, he almost put it into the wall. But he done very well to recover that. Very, very well to recover that. As Skyzy, he's actually gotten past Crayon on the exit of the pits. And that's really important for Skyzy, because then he doesn't get held up in any sort of traffic. And with that bit as well, there could be a chance that Scope could get jumped by Crayon once Scope does go into the pits. I know it'll be Crayon wouldn't have pitted, but there could be a chance that Crayon could stay up ahead of Skyzy come towards the pit stop stages. He's about 19 seconds up ahead of the Mercedes. So predicted, yeah, he might come out literally either side by side or just behind the Mercedes. As Skyzy, you can see he's already on an absolute charge. 8 seconds now behind Yos. Of course, the top 3 and Crayon still yet to pit, who are still the ones on a set of softs. Let's see, does Malc go in now? He doesn't. Does Scope go in? No. Very strange. Both of those guys don't opt to go in. Does Yos come in, however? He does. So Yos into the pits to go and do a... I'm assuming he's also going to be doing a 2-stop strategy. But another interesting thing to point out, both Fashion and Mags have gone on a set of the hards. There's Crayon also into the pits, so he's not going to get jumped. So Scoped is not going to get jumped by Crayon. In fact, Crayon is going to try and do a bit of an undercut on a few of these guys that are up behind him, the likes of MJ Coop, the likes of Farnham, Kenners, Lacarate as well. Well, a bit of an overcut on Lacarate and Fashion and stuff, and Mags. But let's see, because Lacarate's only just coming around the final corner now. Crayon's already out of his pit box. Could be a close one between these two, actually. So there goes Lacquerate on your screen. Crayon is just making his way out of his pit lane now. Is Lacquerate jumped him? Lacquerate's only just jumped him. So very close indeed, but unfortunately for Crayon, he's now going to have to stay behind the Williams. However, much fresher tyres he will be on. As Kenner's going around at turn 1, he was looking very, very unstable throughout the beginning of this race, and unfortunately he has just gone round. That's all there is to it. He's just gone round, so very unfortunate for him. Jos came out of the pits, still remained in P4. Still a good result for him so far. As Malc into the pits, Scope does follow him into the pits, and we're on board with this battle here for P5 of MJ Coupe and Farnham. Of course, it's not the net P5, but it is still P5 nonetheless. As Jos, he will still remain in P4 for now, as MJ Coupe going very, very wide at the beginning of Sector 3. But Farnham, he just didn't get a good enough run for him to try and capitalise on it. As you can see on your, the right hand side of your screen, Skyzy going past both Malc and Scope. So let's see, I think he's jumped at both of them by quite a margin as well. So out comes Malc and out comes Scope, but they're both going on a set of hards, so they don't need to make another pit stop. Whereas Skyzy will more than likely need to make a second stop. He just needs to be careful that he doesn't get costed any sort of time come towards the end of the race by getting held on like a DRS train or anything like that, as Kenner's retired from the session. That's actually at the beginning of Sector 3. Are we going to be maybe seeing a safety car? I suppose Farnham and MJ Coupe now going side by side through turn 2 and the entrance to turn 3. MJ Coupe has that front right damage, but Farnham is the one that has picked up that DRS. However, barely any ERS to his name. MJ Coupe does just opt to stay behind Farnham, both locking up massively going in towards the chicane. But yeah, Farnham, he does get that P5 off of MJ. But you got to think with the DRS, look at that, even before the DRS, I think MJ Coupe might get past him. Yeah, up alongside, already passed, and just even as the DRS opens up, he's already back past the Alfa Romeo. So Farnham, not exactly what he would have wanted, because now he has to stick behind a wounded MJ Coupe. So we'll keep our eye out and see who goes where, as Lacquerate and Crayon both side by side carry on. I saw him on the very, very outside of that hairpin. I don't know what had happened between him and Lacquerate. Because to my knowledge, Crayon was the one that was behind Lacquerate. As MJ Coupe, yep, into the pits he goes to go and get that front wing changed. So he will drop back a numerous amount of places, and well, everybody that's now in that top 10, as long as they finish, they get points. As Mag's into the pits as well, even though he's on a set of hard tyres. Very, very interesting to say the least. But it looks like we've got quite a few gaps going on as Crayon, he was doing so well, and unfortunately he just absolutely smashes his wing into a wall, and well, he's now going to need to try go and get that fixed. So that is pretty much Crayon's race out the window, as Fashion's going to be the one that's just catching up to him. 4 lap old hards for the McLaren. And I don't know if they're going to go to the end of the race. It might be very tight, but they possibly could go to the end of the race no matter what. But we have got Volta in the chat just saying hi Invictus. Hello Volta. Welcome to the stream. But as I said at the beginning of the stream, Scope and Skyzy, they're both doing as much as they can to get themselves up into that position where they will be in the highest point scorers in the championship of all time. Scope, he's opting to try and go for that top spot, and where he is at the moment, he will jump. He will jump CRG Gamers points and jump that in to the most amount of points scored of all time. As Fashion closing up slightly to the back of Lacrate and Farnham. Of course, Farnham is on 11 lap old hard tyres, Lacrate on 9 lap old medium tyres. And Lacrate is gaining on the back of Farnham, leading up in towards this DRS section, coming up towards the chicane now. Lacrate trying to hold it down the inside, as Farnham not going to be able to hold it down around the outside to have that inside line. Lacrate does get past him, however, Farnham, he might do what MJ Coop did to him. He might just try and stay in that DRS of Lacrate. Although, I don't know what the hell has happened with Lacrate's pace, but he's just gone. He's just gone. So I don't think Farnham's going to be able to get that past him. And I think he's just going to have to be content with just staying behind him. As, yeah, look, Fashion, 3.9 seconds now to the back of these two. But we're just making it to about the halfway point in the race as well. I don't think we're going to be seeing sort of much action kicking off at the moment, just until it gets to the second lot of pit stops. Skyzy just lagging quite a bit going through the first sector there. I don't know what happened with him, but yeah, only reason saying that is because of course Skyzy, Yoss, Lacrate are all going to need to make their pit stops again. Same with Farnham. Malc and Scoped, they're as clear as cut. They don't need to make any other pit stop. But Skyzy Hill definitely come out ahead of Yoss once they both make their pit stops. Lacrate, as I said, he's going to need to make another pit stop, but he's got, of course, the hard runners behind him. Lacrate going to try and opt to maybe go on another set of mediums to the end of the race once he makes that pit stop, which I'm assuming is going to be probably in the next 3 or 4 laps. Probably in the next 4 laps, actually. The Williams will come into the pits. Whereas both Skyzy and Yoss, they can probably come in at around lap 20, and they can probably take the softs to the end of the race. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys are going to do at the end of this race. Fashion, who had an absolute brilliant start to this race, unfortunately was hit from the back from Lacrate. Of course, Fashion, he's going to try and take these hards to the end of the race. He's been on them 3 laps more than both Matt and Scoped, and they're both, well, it's going to be kind of tight for the both of them to make those hards to work to the end of the race. So Fashion, I can't imagine how he's going to try and do his tyre saving, but I'm very intrigued to see how he does opt to do it. As Yoss, I think that's one of the first time penalties of the race so far. Yoss, a 3-second time penalty to his name, of course, and he still needs to make another pit stop. But so do the majority of the guys behind him. As Fashion now catching up to the back of Farnham. As you can see, Farnham, massive mistake going through turn 1 there. It's allowed Fashion to actually get himself in that DRS zone. So let's have a look and see how the McLaren's going to do. He's going to have that DRS, but not going to be close enough to get any sort of move done, so he just has to stay behind him for now, just stay content from there. And now with the DRS wide, oh well, it's not wide open at the moment. Farnham, he's got a bit of defending to do. Fashion, DRS now wide open for him. I think Farnham's going to try and just hold that outside, but I don't think he's going to have any sort of comeback for it. Fashion, yep, nothing that he could sort of do can Alfa Romeo, so he has to stay behind the McLaren now. Fashion up into 6th place, and especially with Lacrate, Yoss and Skyzy, who will have to make their pit stops again. Of course, Skyzy will probably come out ahead of him. But Fashion, he could be on for a very good P4 position here. He's about 21, 22 seconds behind Jos as Lacquerate goes into the pits. But yeah, he's about 21, 22 seconds now behind Jos. As there are yellows, it's actually Crayon who's gone extremely wide out of the hairpin. No safety car for it, which is all good. It's all good. But he has got massive amount of wing damage on that front right still. He still has not been, well, in fact, he did come in actually to get that fixed. He obviously hasn't gone back into the pits to go. Oh, he hasn't gone back into the pits as of yet. I'm assuming he might be in this lap to get that one changed once again for him. As just riding on board with the Malc. With the Malc even. As in fact, no, he doesn't come in. He does just stay out. But just taking it a bit easy. But yeah, now we've got some very big gaps in this order going around here. Farnham is the one that's the closest, but it was to Fashion, and Fashion overtook him. So yeah, we're not really going to be sort of seeing anything until the rest of the guys have made their pit stops. But at the moment, Skyzy, we haven't run on board with him, well, really at all. So we'll stick on board with our leader at the moment. And even just going through the season, I'll tell you what, I know Scoped is the one that has won this championship. I feel like Skyzy, there has been times where he quite easily could have won this championship, and I feel like if it wasn't for, of course, the puncture in Hungary, it was just a massive letdown for him, which then gave him that race ban that he had in Baku to allow Scope to then win the championship. That's already at least 30 points gone, or at most 30 points gone, sorry, 32 should I say, whereas I think that was all Scope needed to be able to win that championship. We could have had the title decider here tonight at Vietnam, but it's just unfortunate how that race went. The one at Spa as well, very, very late safety car brought basically the entire pack together when Skyzy had built a lead of about 16 seconds in total. So yeah, of course, a few things not going Skyzy's way. It's now led to him missing out on that championship. Of course, he's still in second, he still takes second no matter what. But it's just not worked out for him whatsoever, as Crayon into the pit, Stefano or Mags will go ahead and take that 9th position. Of course, Mags is going to still need to make another pit stop as well as MJ Coupe. Lacquerate, he's came in for his final stop, so he won't need to make any more pit stops for the rest of this race. And he's about 10 seconds behind Fashion, so we'll keep our eye out on that gap from there. But yeah, just going a bit more in depth with these top 3 as well. Merckx, I mean, if he was in before the beginning of the season, I feel like Merckx really could have been within this title fight, possibly even bested these guys, because at the moment he's 8.5 seconds up ahead of Scopefielder, our champion. Whether it means whether Scope's fully pushing or not, that's still impressive for the fact that Malc is this far up ahead of Scopefielder. And Scope, we'll roll on board with him as well. He is literally about to break the all-time record for the Invictus highest amount of points scored in one season. He's about to break that record. If he literally just finishes where he is, I mean, who's got the fastest lap so far? Let's have a look. So fastest lap is actually Skyzy at 37.8. Of course, Skyzy will more than likely try and break that once again, come towards the end of the race, because he's going to need to make another pit stop. Same with Jos. So both of those guys still need to make another pit stop. It's going to come down to a bit of a brawl for the fastest lap, probably in about 4 laps time, shall we say, because I don't think Skyzy's going to come in until about lap 20, lap 21, chuck on a set of softs, go to the end of the race. But I mean, yeah, as I said, going back to it, he's driven an absolute sublime season. So I say so far, he has driven a sublime season. All Scope has to do is just not DNF really. He's 6 seconds up ahead of Jos. So he's just playing it nice, cool, calm and collectively. That's probably why he's about 8.5 seconds behind Malc. And as of right now, I think Scope, he will take that highest points position, or highest points scored, sorry, in one season, not highest points position. But we have got a battle that's about to go down. So, Farnham, he's done 16 laps on these hard tyres and hasn't made his way into the pits as of yet. And as you can see, it's really taking a toll on the Swede, because there goes Lacquerate on a fresh set of mediums, already passed before even getting into turn 1. And yeah, Farnham down into 7th place. He's going to have faster tyres at the end of this race. In fact, he might even be in this lap or next lap to chuck on mediums or softs to the end. But you can really see Farnham struggling. Look at that. 1.2 seconds already through 4 corners. That was all it took, was 4 corners. As MJ Coupe back into the pits to chuck on a set of softs for the final 10 laps of season 11. Well, technically season 1 for the PC side, but season 11 in general for the Invictus Racing League. And I must admit as well, when I first joined to do the comms for the PC side, when MJ Coupe had messaged me and Yoss, I was a little bit skeptical of it at first. I'm not gonna lie. Not skeptical, but I wasn't too sure. I didn't know too much of the league. Obviously, I've heard of the league before because I know a few guys that did that race on it on the PS4 side, but I didn't really. I wasn't really too sure of the PC side and who was in it. With it being a bit different, I would say. Yeah, I am very happy that I actually ended up being able to do this, because now I feel like a lot of these guys now, I sort of can gauge their pace, especially from Racing Scope on the Monday. I can sort of gauge what their pace is like. I've obviously got to know the guys a bit more as well. As I said, I'm very happy the fact that MJ and Yoss did take me on board into consideration for the PC side, and I can only really thank those guys for it. Also, a big shout out to Mr. GT2 Driving, or Gareth Hall. I'm sure he'll probably watch this stream back and probably not expect a shout out for it, but for of course doing the hard work that he does, even just behind the scenes for the commentary box, getting all the statistics right, just improving, making sure that everyone does improve as a better commentator as well. I feel like even just from doing this, it has helped me out a lot more as well. So I am very grateful for that. But this is where I'm saying, first set of pit stops are now happening. Well, second set of pit stops are now happening. Skyzy, set of softs, lap 20, 8 laps to go. Is he coming out ahead of Yoss though? That's the question. Let's have a look. Skyzy's out of his pit box. I think he'll come out ahead of Yoss, because Yoss is just only coming up to turn 1 now. Skyzy, yeah, he's well ahead of him. Well ahead of him. And he's only 3 seconds behind Scope, so I think we're going to see a bit of a battle going on to the end of the flag, or yeah, until the flag. But that's allowed Malc to go straight into the lead of the race by 10 seconds up ahead of Scope and 13 seconds up ahead of Skyzy. I don't think Skyzy in 8 laps is going to be able to catch up to Malc in that time. Again, I've been proven wrong before multiple times. However, I just don't see that it's going to happen. However, if it happens, I'll do another shoey. Why not? If it happens, I'll do a shoey. But yeah, it's definitely been an impressive season. As I said, I know there wasn't too many guys that were in when I first joined it, but a lot of guys have managed to join it now, and it's definitely made it more exciting, especially since Malc has joined it, because I think everyone, and I even think the 2 Renaults, were a bit tired of just winning nearly every single race. And so now with a bit more of competition from Malc, it's just allowed him to, well, it's now showing what he is made of. His pace is almost as fast, if not faster, than the 2 Renaults. The Scope doesn't even try and fight over Skyzy. He knew that it was just going to be more beneficial for him to just stay behind him, because he wants that all-time record and he is well on his way to getting it. I think that's why he's gone on the set of the hards, just to play it safe. And he's well within that record. Records are there, they're made to be broken. I think the Swedish is about to break another one. Primer Pro Sniper here, gutted I couldn't race tonight. I hope I get a seat for next season. Yeah, it's very unfortunate, man, but I suppose there's not much that you can sort of do regarding it. Hopefully we'll see you, as I said, next season in for season 12. I'm sure there are bigger and better things to come in season 12. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But I will just say, Jos is doing a pretty good job himself as well in P4. I think where did he start? So he started in 7th place and he's moved up 3 places. The only one that's actually moved down a place that's still going at the moment is Lacquerate, but he's on much fresher tyres than Fashion. As Skyzy, fastest lap of the race at 36.3. And I'm not gonna lie, unless Jos can pull out an absolute stunner of a lap, I can't really see anybody beating it. As Scope actually goes into the pits, he's going to try and take that fastest lap as well. He knows he's as far ahead of Jos as he can be. I think he's going to jump Jos in the pits. About a 21-second gap between him and Jos. Jos a little bit of lag, however. But yeah, there's Scope. So yeah, he'll come out ahead of him actually. But I really should not have spoken too soon. Oh no. I really shouldn't have spoken too soon. 7.9 seconds between Merch and Skyzy, and it was 13 seconds 2 laps ago. That's 5 seconds within the last 2 laps. He has caught up to the back of Merch. And that gap can only sort of drop from here unless Skyzy picks himself up wing damage. But yeah, just sticking up all with the Frenchman. He's absolutely charging down on Max. Absolutely charging. But I don't think Skyzy's sort of going to get close enough unless Merckx picks up a penalty. I don't think Skyzy's going to be close enough to get in any sort of move done. He's 5.9 seconds now behind Merckx. To be fair, he's caught him 2 seconds from what I said last time. And you can see just up ahead as well, you've got the battle going on for P8. In fact, I'm going to go on board with that little battle actually, between Mags and MJ Coupe. They're both on a set of soft tyres as well, as MJ Coupe going very wide at the hairpin. Mags just says see you later, gets the move done, and I can see the reason why. If you would like to take a look on the front left side of MJ's car, or front right shall I say, you can see that there's a little bit of a left end plate missing. And a move being done here for P5 is now all heating up towards the end of the race. So I wondered if we were going to see any action. Fashion, he's not going to be able to hold it down the inside of Lacquerate, so he has to concede that position. Fashion is now down in the P6, however he will have the DRS on Lacquerate, and I can't exactly see how much ERS he's gotten. Barely any, so both running without really any ERS. He's still chucking it into overtake, however, closing up to the back of Lacquerate, trying to go down his inside and towards the hairpin. Has had to back out from that move, but Lacquerate does go a little bit wide, but I think from where Fashion had to reposition himself, he couldn't really do much, so back down into P6 goes the McLaren. However, can't remember who it was that picked up a 3-second tyre penalty. It was Scope. He had to do it. He had to do it. He picked himself up the fastest lap of the race, and oh my god, this actually could happen. Flashing a 5-second stop go for speeding in the pit lane. But this could happen. 3.7 seconds now. Why have I gone ahead and said something? Why have I said that? Why have I said this? 3.2 seconds split Skyzy and Mert. Of course, Skyzy's tyres are going to go off soon, but he's just catching him at an absolute alarming rate. 3-second gap now to Mert. And to make matters worse, Skyzy is literally about to have some DRS to Mags, so that's going to give him even more of an opportunity to be able to catch up to Mert. 2.5 seconds now. And I think we're going to be seeing a brawl come towards the end of the race as Mert. 2.4 seconds now. In fact, Merc's actually helping out Max, because I think Max, yeah, he's got DRS actually. Skyzy braking very, very late into the hairpin. It's cost him a bit of time going through the hairpin, however, not too much time. Still 1.9 seconds behind at the Williams. He's running out of time though. And every little mistake, like just going on the end of that curve at the exit, is just going to hamper him. Three more laps left to go of this race. 1.5 second splits, both Merc and Skyzy. I think Skyzy's got DRS off of now Max, if I'm not mistaken. Let's stick on board with the French and see if he does. No, he doesn't. I thought he did. So he's further enough up ahead to not have any DRS. Max wants to be careful though. He doesn't actually hinder Merc in all of this as well. But Max is actually going to be helping out Merc for the end of this race, because he's going to give him DRS. So it's going to allow Merc to stay up ahead. Did Skyzy get DRS? No, he didn't. So he's still no DRS for the Frenchman. Very deep into the hairpin. That's going to cost him at least 4/10 going through that hairpin, where he broke a lot later. In fact, it didn't even cost him 4/10. It barely cost him any time at all. But all Merc needs to do is really just stay in that DRS as Stefano, and then he can win this race. However, Skyzy, look at what we're seeing. He's borderline DRS. And I think he's got it. He certainly has. But then again, so does Malc. So, this is where things do get interesting. Skyzy, without any, he's got DRS, but that's not really going to matter because Malc also has DRS. Barely any ERS used for the Williams either, in comparison to Skyzy, where Skyzy's only got about 20%. Skies, you need to do some saving, my friend. Because at the moment it looks like Max is pulling Malc as much as he can, and Malc can afford to use his ERS, exactly what he is doing now, to make sure he stays up ahead of the Renault, whereas Skyzy only 5% of ERS, as there is a ripple that's gone round. Is that Yoss or is that MJ? It's MJ, so he's been lapped by his teammate, unfortunately. And now we're going to have an all-out brawl on the final lap of the race. Skyzy's going to have that DRS for the final lap. Oh boy. I suppose I better start going to get my shoe ready, hadn't I? But all the other gaps are so significant. This is where it matters. Skyzy, massive bit of oversteer on the final lap. He wants this win, and you can really see it. But his tyres are definitely starting to go off by now. And Malc, he's doing all he can just to stay up ahead of the Renault, and it's looking like it's working. Skyzy, because of how much he's pushing that, he's definitely increased his tyre temps on all of this now. Malc, all he's got to do really is just stay up ahead of him on that long straight. But Skyzy, he's going to be pushing that as much as he can to make sure he keeps up and finishes up ahead of him. Malc just taking as wide of a line as possible to get the best possible run, and that has looked like that's worked. And Malc doing everything he can to try and get out of that slipstream of Skyzy. 7.5 temps split, both Skyzy and Malc. I won't be surprised if we may see a little bit of a dive come through for the Frenchman, but both of these guys, DRS now wide open for Skyzy. Both were in overtake. Skyzy, no ERS left to his name, but no sort of dive. And I'm not getting a rev glitch with Skyzy, so that's lovely. But you know what? We're going to stick on board with Malc because of an absolute stellar race that he has driven. He's managed to best the two-stop of Skyzy. Only just, I think, with those few mistakes that Skyzy's made throughout those last couple of laps, he's going to be really annoyed about it, and I completely understand why. But Malc, he's going to come across the final corner now, and he will take the final win of the season for the Invictus Racing League for the PC side. The Williams, he comes home and he takes the victory. Skyzy, he's got his name in that top 8. He's managed to do it. 123 points overall for the Frenchman. So he puts his name within that top 8. Scope, one more corner and he has done it. Fastest lap. He's gotten himself 11 points to increase that. So 155 points in total. The most amount of points scored in one season goes to the Swede of Scope. Very, very well done to him for doing that, and of course taking that championship as well. Yoss, he's been a bit overshadowed for this race, but he's managed to take that final race in P4. Lacquerate taking his race at P5 fashion, just weaving around the final corner and up towards the line, and he had a 5-second time penalty that was unserved from him. And Farnham, well, he's going to be the last one to make his way across the line. But what a season it has been for the PC side, as Farnham comes across the line, and that is all she wrote for the remainder of that season. Malc, he did come home to win it all tonight, but of course I think that might get a little bit overshadowed from Skyzy and Scope for being in that top 8 for the most amount of points scored of all time. Skyzy just getting his way in there, and Scope, that's, yeah, he's managed to top it. He's managed to beat Gamer's top amount of points, and is now gotten the most points scored in one season overall. But there are your final times for the final race of this season. Malc, as I said, he managed to get pole position, do the one stop, and best the rest of the two stoppers, taking the win for tonight. Skyzy, valiant effort, so close to finishing in first, but unfortunately a few mistakes made him finish in second. In third was Scope, fourth was Yoss, fifth was Lacquerate, Fashion in sixth, with Farnham in seventh, Mags in eighth, MJ Cooper in ninth. Crayon does manage to pick up his 3rd point score of the race, of the season, at his final race of the season. MJ Coop picking himself up some more points as well. Mags, it was just very unfortunate what had happened at the beginning, but I suppose it is what it is, and he can only get, or he only could get 8th position for this evening. Of course, the ones that had unfortunately DNF'd of being Kenners, Typhoon, Gaudio, and SK Fast. But as I said, that's everything for this PC side for this season. Make sure you guys are tuned in tomorrow night for the Performance League. I guess there's not much left to say other than, of course, checking out all of the socials for Invictus, at InvictusRL on the Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Twitch, and of course on YouTube, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But that's been me for the season. Everyone, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side for the next season, for season 12 of the PC League.